I'm sorry. What is this one's name again?
Chunkingosaurus. Chunkingosaurus. Sorry.
What kind of name is that?
My guess is it's from the Chungking province in China.
Ah, that makes more
Big
sense.
chunga.
Chunkingosaurus.
Yeah.
There's only 2 specimens found?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the sample size is not high enough to really say much. Like for scientists to be like, oh, all right,
Yeah.
we know a lot about this.
Yep.
Let's name a whole thing after this thing. I don't know.
Sometimes that's all you got. Sometimes, and I think at least one of their specimens, I think when they found one, they were really confused by it. And then they found that second one with a belly full of fish. And it was like, well, that explains a whole lot that was weird about that first one. And, if you've got a good enough specimen, that's better than a whole lot of lousy ones.
4 wings? How is that even possible?
You're aware of dragons, right?
Well, I know about dragons. But I'm talking about
Front wings, back wings.
their legs, huh?
Mhm.
Kind of like.
So they're flapping their legs? Like
It's a
this?
glider.
Oh, okay.
But hold on. Bats kind of have wing legs,
To
They
a certain
fly.
degree. Yeah. So the wings on bats are tied, like the membrane extends over the legs. I'd say this is probably, because this is like an early, I mean, it's not a bird, right? So it's not really like built for flight in the same way that the birds are, but it almost certainly doing something with all those flight feathers.
Could it flap its legs?
Possibly.
I'd like to see that.
Okay, let's imagine a world where it could fly and it flew using, in addition to its front legs, its back legs.
Or just its back legs.
What does that even look like?
Maybe it flies with the front wings for thrust, but it keeps those back legs out for lift.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of, before the avian tail had really evolved well, maybe that's a little bit how that balanced out. I don't understand the physics of flight well enough.
That sounds plausible, but I like the idea of it flapping its back legs.
I mean, it's the same thing, right? It could just... And then it can do whatever it wants with its arms.
I like your take on it, that it would do this with its arm.
I like it. Hey guys, look! I found a shin bone.
Oh, wow.
I'm gonna call it something. Here's everything I know about it based on this shin bone.
Yep.
That's rough.
That's why I chose not to go with that guy. We don't know enough about it.
What is...
How's
How-
that even possible?
That feels too, like, how do you... Okay. I get there's not a lot of sample data, right?
Mhm.
But how is it enough to say it's its own thing? And how is knowing what the shin bone is, it's not... I mean,
Chicken.
it might narrow it down, but it's certainly not going to narrow it down to a thing. I don't know. Like, is
It
the
depends.
shin
It
bone
depends
that-
on how unique it is.
Yeah, like how unique is this dang shin bone?
Apparently, pretty unique. Recognizable as a sauropod.
Spotted in a crowd.
Which, being a sauropod shin bone, it's not small. Like,
But it was the smallest.
it's the smallest, but it's still pretty good sized bone. And probably pretty distinctive as sauropod shin bones go. But yeah, it's a reach for me to crown that the champion.
Yeah.
Finding information on the smallest dinosaurs in a group is hard. It's really hard. Because it's a question nobody ever asks, apparently. And like, the biggest, that's still difficult in a few cases, but for the most part, that's easy information to find. The smallest. And then sometimes I'd find a thing, and it'd be like, this is the smallest of this group. And then I'd keep doing my research, I'd find something that's like a fifth the size of that one. I'm like, what are you
No one cares.
And so like I'm totally demoralized. Like I'd already written about the one that's 5 times that size, and I'm like, oh no.
So birds are theropods.
Mhm.
So we know exactly where they fall in the dinosaur phylogeny.
As well as anything in the dinosaur phylogeny. They're in the Maniraptora.
Maniraptora. So it goes theropod, Maniraptora.
Yeah, and we have a video on the Maniraptora if you want to see exactly where they fit. The avialans.
The avians.
Oh yeah, we saw that thing at the museum. You were there though. You saw it. It's outrageous.
What was outrageous?
The Archaeopteryx thing at the museum.
Oh,
So big.
where it said that it's not a.
Yeah, I haven't called up to cancel my membership yet.
For our viewers, we saw a flip chart of what is this, a dinosaur or is it not a dinosaur? And having just done these are not dinosaurs, we're like, oh, we got this. And we got it, except one of the answers, according to the museum, was that a ancestor of birds is not a dinosaur. So, aka an early bird, not a dinosaur.
Gets the worm though.
I walked into that one.
I have a question about size.
Do ya?
So what made the dinosaurs so big compared to
Oh, and
our megafauna?
and Cretaceous dinosaurs for some reason.
Yeah.
It's a very good question.
And I have a follow-up question.
I would guess. It's a question I should look into more. But I would guess the most important thing would be the amount of primary production. I don't get the idea that the Cretaceous Earth was super different in climate than today.
Yeah.
But I'd have to see where all the land masses were, right? Like if they were more equatorial or something, or more continuous, where the total, because like you can have a big population of really big predators, as long as there's enough territory for there to be a big population of them. The difficulty is small populations of anything tend to go extinct, because it's really easy for them to be driven to extinction. And so, but it takes a ton of plant growth to support one tyrannosaur.
Yeah.
And that could just be you're in a small area that has tons of plant growth, or it can be you're in a big area that has some plant growth. And so, each tyrannosaur has a very big range, but it's such a big total range that they can inhabit. And the tyrannosaurs were almost global in their distribution, the tyrannosaurids. And Tyrannosaurus rex had a really big area, at least pretty much all of North America. But why specifically they got so big, I don't know. I don't know how that was possible. It's sort of like whales. I mean, whales are so dang big.
Yeah.
And, it's because there's a lot of food available to them
Okay.
that allows it.
And their range is huge.
Their range is huge.
That leads me to my follow-up question. What are the chances that the blue whale is the biggest animal that's ever lived?
I'd say very good.
Really? Because of the conditions now, or what?
Well, I mean, it is difficult to get that big on land because that dang gravity.
I'm talking ocean too, though.
Yeah.
There have been a bigger animal in the ocean.
Could be. I mean, it's possible. But a lot of the oceans were inland seas and stuff not that long ago. And so, I don't think we've found anything that rivals a blue whale. Even like the upper end estimates for the size of Megalodon are not close. Dunkleosteus, which I think was sort of the biggest of the armored fishes, isn't even. I mean, it's like the size of a great white shark or something. And then I just don't know of anything that would have rivaled it. And though, I mean, there's so much it comes down to luck and stuff. It's just like that is a really big animal. But I mean, we found some of our biggest sauropods like within the last 40 years. So stuff could pop up. Antarctica's not always been there.
Yeah.
And
Or frozen.
Yep. And so we don't know a whole lot about its ancient history. I mean, there's always a possibility, but I think blue whale has a very good chance of being the largest thing that's ever lived on this planet.
Good for them.
Yeah, I know. Feels good, doesn't it?
Congratulations.
I'd like to see one someday.
Yeah.
That'd be a heck of a thing, wouldn't it?
Be crazy.
Fly a drone up there. Or we could... Have you seen this quadcopter car that you can get?
No.
It's basically a drone you can
Drone
ride in.
car?
Yeah.
Like a hover car?
It's a flying car. It's $90,000.
That's
it?
reasonable.
Yeah.
Considering it flies.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
I know. That's the kind of thing that you could actually justify.
Huh?
90% fatality rate, but
90%.
Oh, no. I don't have any questions. Do you have more?
Dinosaurs.
We've been nerding out with dinosaurs yesterday, so I got a lot of my questions.
Have we already talked about your favorite dinosaur?
No, but we're going to next time in extreme
Alright.
detail.
Then I will.
In fact, we're going to figure out if it's still my favorite dinosaur. And I am not far enough into my research to say.
Ooh,
Okay.
spicy.
But my
Hot take.
my favorite dinosaur, and I hate that it is Tyrannosaurus Rex.
I
Oh.
thought it was Carnotaurus,
Carnotaurus is the dinosaur I would like to be my favorite dinosaur.
but you can't help.
I love the way Carnotaurus looks. It's a cool looking dinosaur. But T-Rex is just cooler. It is. It just is.
Yeah.
I mean, and this shouldn't matter, but T-Rex would kick the crap out of Carnotaurus in a fight. Like, it wouldn't even be close.
Really?
It would not be close at all.
Dang.
Here, I'll give you a little teaser. Okay, so the bite force on a Tyrannosaurus is like 35 to 57,000 newtons. Okay, for comparison, the bite.
You were able to figure that out from a single shin bone.
Yes, the bite for the T-Rex is the most heavily studied of all dinosaurs, so 35 to 57,000 newtons of closing pressure. That's meaningless to you, right?
Yeah.
The greatest bite force on an animal today, on a land predator, is the polar bear at 1,400
Holy cow!
newtons. Your bite force is 300 newtons.
Forget about it.
The bite force on Giganotosaurus, the comparably large but non-tyrannosaurid, about 6,000 newtons.
What?
What? What was the polar bear again?
1,400.
Okay.
Yeah, and then
Okay, Carnotaurus.
Carnotaurus, I don't know, but probably somewhere more in that 6,000 range, because they're not built for this sort of. They've got blade-shaped teeth that are built for shearing off pieces of flesh. Like they could cut your throat or what. I mean, they can kill you. But T-Rex would just. I mean, they find T-Rex T-Rex teeth just embedded in bone. Like they just go into bone like butter. And the tooth isn't blade shaped because it would smash its teeth apart if it had the blade shaped teeth of Giganotosaurus. Their teeth are shaped like a javelin head with a curve to it, like a banana almost. And they just
Into butter. Man. That is insane.
it's that's the Tyrannosaurids. The Tyrannosaurids have this just unbelievable bite force, and if you look at just look at the skull build of Giganotosaurus, It's narrower and it's very fragile. It's light, which is nice, but it's a very fragile skull. And then you look at Tyrannosaurus's skull, and it is just
beefy,
burly. But then on top of that, they're also built for speed. Now, Tyrannosaurus Rex probably wasn't that fast, but it was fast enough that you wouldn't be able to get away from it. And the smaller Tyrannosaurs are genuinely fast. T-Rex is fast for a gigantic animal. It had the best vision of any land predator ever. Super good binocular vision, both eyes pointed fully forward. He's just a dude.
Carnotaurus, bite force in newtons, 3,341.
35,000. 35,000 is the low end estimate on T-Rex's bite force. So that's what, 11 times 12, 11, 12 times is it? That's low end. High end, 50 is almost 20 times the bite force of Carnotaurus.
Bite a car in half.
I wouldn't want to be in a car that a T-Rex was biting into.
Crazy.
Unbelievable. They're so dang cool. And the more you learn about them, the cooler they get, which is why they're the most heavily studied of all dinosaurs. And, it's like, but I want something else to be it.
Something interesting.
And genuinely, so these things that I just talked about Tyrannosaurus, except for being the biggest, they're true about the Tyrannosaurs across the spectrum. How many other Tyrannosaurs can you name? I could have probably named 2 or 3, which is, I think, more than most people. But there are 13 genera of Tyrannosaurids. So I'm currently going through all of them to find out which one is actually the coolest.
Okay.
See, I think T-Rex's rival is going to be in there.
All right.
Right.
I'm excited.
Though the Ankylosaurids do bring a certain amount of joy to my heart. They're just delightful, I wish they existed now.